This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
I'm Roby Brock. Welcome to the program. Glad to have you with us. On September 18th, the state of Arkansas closes its deadline for applying to be a cultivation center or dispensary of medical cannabis. This is, of course, in conjunction with the new law passed by voters to allow for medical marijuana. Brian Vicente, who headed Colorado's landmark marijuana effort, was in town late last week, and we sat down to discuss what Arkansas can expect next. Tell me what you are seeing from your wide-ranging perspective in terms of what Arkansas is doing right in terms of setting up this whole process for basically a new industry.
Sure. So, I mean, it's pretty phenomenal. I mean, we now have 30 states, including Arkansas, that have medical marijuana laws. And Arkansas, I think, has been very thoughtful in the process of how they set this up. They basically have two different state agencies that are overseeing both patients as well as, creating strict controls over the businesses that will operate with them. And I think they've been really keeping an eye on the timeline, making sure that the voters who pass this are, the will of them is being sort of enforced, and that patients will be getting medicine soon.
I know that in states that have a more mature marijuana industry or more mature medical marijuana industry, you have learned some things, particularly Colorado has learned some things that maybe weren't thought about beforehand. Do you see Arkansas addressing some of those concerns early on, or do you think there will be some additional things that will come along that people maybe hadn't thought of?
Well, fortunately, Arkansas does benefit from a number of other states that have passed these laws over the last 20 years. And I think they've been thoughtful in crafting regulations that do important things like tracking marijuana plants from seed to sale, making sure that there's appropriate security at these facilities, allowing local communities to have the zoning power to say, this is the right area for these particular stores or not. And so I think they're coming at it from the right way.
When we watch the September 18th deadline approach for the application for cultivation centers, dispensaries, other parts of this, are we going to see everything from amateur to professional to super professional, or what are we going to get in terms of a hodgepodge here?
Sure. Well, I do think there's a lot of national interest in helping people move forward in Arkansas and get these businesses established. I know there's a lot of really successful Arkansas medical professionals and business people looking at this as not only a opportunity to make money, but also a way to help patients. So I think there will be a wide spectrum of folks coming at this, but we need to keep in mind what really matters, and that's getting patients the medicine they need and making sure that medicine is appropriate in terms of dosage and things of that nature.
A big issue that has been surrounding not just Arkansas but other states is it's against federal law for some of these banks to basically set up bank accounts to handle some of the money that goes through the medical marijuana facilities. Lots of talk about how this is going to be kind of changing for everybody. Hawaii came out this past week, said they're going to go cashless now with their marijuana industry. What's the future of the payment process for medical marijuana?
Sure. I mean, this is definitely an important issue because we're going to have these facilities in Arkansas, and we want to make sure there's not cash roaming around, that it's being banked in a proper way, that it's been transparent in terms of how these transactions are taking place. And so Arkansas needs to take a hard look at that. Hawaii has taken a little bit of a lead on this. They're moving towards, with their medical marijuana law, they're moving towards doing sort of a cashless, almost credit card style payment. And I think that's something, no matter where you're at on this issue, you believe if the law passed that people, these businesses should have access to banking. It's safe, it's a safety issue, it's a transparency issue, and so it's something being tackled head on.
Are you an advocate that the federal banking laws ought to change to kind of open all this up, or do you think it's kind of ripe for the Bitcoin kind of culture to come in and develop a new type of currency for medical marijuana?
Yeah, it's interesting. So we live in a wild time where we have medical marijuana legal in 30 states, but illegal at the federal level. Now, the feds have said that they actually will not interfere in state laws like in Arkansas, and they've actually said that banks can work with this industry. They've just created a lot of barriers in terms of reporting requirements and things of that nature. So banks themselves have been kind of hesitant to get on board, but I do think as banks realize that this is going to become quickly a multi-million-dollar industry in Arkansas, that they'll take a hard look at actually working with these businesses.
Full confession and disclosure here, I was the White House Skype reporter that asked the Trump administration for their position on medical marijuana versus recreational marijuana, and got the big response that the Department of Justice is looking at all of this. Are you worried about where the Trump administration may go?
A bit, yeah. It's interesting. On the campaign trail, President Trump stated that he supported the rights of medical marijuana and he thought it was a good thing. And then he got into office and appointed Jeff Sessions as the Attorney General. And Jeff Sessions has a long history of being, essentially a drug war proponent. And so, thus far, the signals from the administration have been they're going to leave states like Arkansas alone, let them fulfill their state laws around medical marijuana. And we'll kind of just have to wait and see how that dynamic plays out.
That's Brian Vicente with Arkansas Medicinal Source and one of the nation's leading experts on medical marijuana.